Garlic is aromatic and not difficult to grow. Gardeners find a special joy to grow this special plant. Garlic cultivation starts by planting cloves obtained from matured garlic heads containing several cloves. Once we grow enough garlic heads and store them properly, buying garlic for planting in the garden is no longer necessary. There are two subspecies of garlic. The difference is that the first one forms a flower stalk called a scape. This is hardneck garlic, and the second does not, and it's called softneck garlic. Our garlic is a softneck and was obtained a few years ago from a gardening friend. All garlics are autumn garlics when planted in autumn, or spring garlics when planted in spring. Time of planting has no influence on the appearance of flower stalks. At Becoming Gardener, we grow only autumn garlic, which matures earlier and has thicker cloves. This is practical when using it in kitchen, since peeling is faster and easier. Popular belief that garlic grows only in poor soil is not true, as it forms beautiful heads and can be stored for a long time even when it grows in universally fertile soils covered with compost as mulch. Garlic is grown from individual cloves obtained from ripe garlic heads. For planting, we use the outer garlic cloves. The larger the cloves planted, the higher the possibility of a bigger yield. Autumn garlic is planted in late October or early November. This is the best time to plant garlic. Spring garlic is planted in February or at latest in early March, when the ground is no longer frozen. In both cases, we plant in the same way. First, mark the rows 20 centimeters apart in the bed. Plant the pots 15 centimeters apart in each row. The quickest way to do this is to use a meter stretched out for each row and push the pots into the soil or compost at multiples of 15. The cloves are pushed about 3 to 5 centimeters deep, a bit deeper in the compost bedding. We always plant the clove the right way, roots at the bottom. Covering at this time of the year is not needed. If we have cats, we can cover the bed with a bird netting without arches to protect the clean bed. In spring, immediately cover directly over the bed with a garden fleece. Not so much for a better microclimate, but to protect it from garlic and onion flies. When garlic is planted in autumn, the bed, even without tunnel hoops, is covered at the beginning of February. Garlic does not require special care and does not need frequent watering, as the growing process mostly occurs in the autumn or spring when there is sufficient moisture in the soil. Autumn garlic develops even better than the spring variant, as it grows a strong root system in the winter. During the growth stages of young plants in early spring, loosen the garden fleece cover regularly in order to let the plants grow without any interference. Remove the heavy objects, weights, which hold the edges of the garden fleece in place. Lift the fleece up and lay it back down gently. Then put back the weights on their places on the fleece edges. When the garlic leaves are 10 centimeters in height, install tunnel hoops over the garden beds and place garden fleece over the tunnel hoops so that the garlic has room to grow. If the leaves have been a bit bent by now, they will soon straighten up. In May, replace the fleece with an anti-insect netting and use it as a cover for at least another month. We are now in the beginning of June, and garlic can already be uncovered and truly be a garden star, since the threat of flying pests is over. Weeds growing between rows can be removed with garden tools. Individual weeds which grow near the plants, can be plucked out by hand. In May, cover the garlic bed with summer mulch made of grass clippings, leaves, or straw, but this is not necessary if we use compost as our main mulch. Garlic varieties that develop a flower stalk will begin to develop these in late May or early June. We don't have this variety to show you the process, but I'll try my best to explain it to you. Remove the flower stalk as soon as you spot them, otherwise the garlic heads in the ground will not grow to their full potential. Cut the flower stalk or break it off at the point where it grows from the leaves. Young, unopened garlic flowers are a real culinary treat and should not end up on the compost pile. If we want, we can let the garlic plant bloom, creating a new generation. In fact, the flower stalk is not a real flower stalk, as it does not carry flowers. It's rather a collection of tiny air bulbs. Garlic is multiplied by vegetative reproduction. When the bulbs are separated, they can be picked up, dried for a few days, and then stored. Plant them at the same time as when the classic cultivation of autumn or spring garlic takes place. In 2 years, nice, thick cloves of garlic will be grown. When planting autumn garlic, there is usually enough space in the garden, as garlic is planted at a time when a lot of crops are already harvested and the garden beds are empty. Even in early spring, the garden beds are still mostly empty. When garlic matures at the end of June, the autumn garlic, or in July, the spring garlic, at least one other type of vegetable can be grown after it. 3 weeks before garlic is harvested, it can grow together with Brussels sprouts, kale, sweet, lettuce, or any other autumn-winter vegetable. The onion fly is a threat to both onions and garlic. Unlike the onion fly, only one larva can be found in one plant in the case of the garlic fly attack. It causes damage in April and May, or even earlier, when a fly lays eggs on young plants or in the ground in the immediate vicinity of the stem of plants. Damage caused by maggots feeding is noticeable later, when the attacked leaves begin to curl and grow outwards. The plants start to lag in growth, turn yellow, the stems soften, and the clothes rot and are much smaller than in healthy plants. Adult larvae then start moving to the garlic head, where they exit the plant and bury themselves in the ground around mid-May. We usually see this when it's already too late, when the leaves of the plant are curled and do not grow upwards as they should. The garlic can also be attacked by an onion fly, or the tunnels and cracks can be caused by an allium leaf miner. It is best to protect plants by covering them with a garden fleece or anti-insect netting already from February until May. We are very strict with covering the garlic, since in season 2020 we lost 80% of our crops due to described pests. A red-legged onion beetle is also a pest, laying its eggs on garlic leaves. The larvae feed on the leaves. By covering the plants, we can reduce the attack. We can also remove the larvae manually using gloves, because the eggs are bright red color and can quickly be spotted on green leaves. Rust can also appear on the leaves, but it usually does not cause any serious problems for the crop. Right now, the leaves start to dry and become brown. This is normal, since garlic in the ground is already maturing. Early crops are immature heads or young garlic, which is harvested from the beginning of June onwards. Mature garlic is harvested when the first leaves turn yellow. This is a sign that the bulb is developing and dividing into cloves. To ensure even maturing, bend the leaves over, push them downward at least 10 to 15 days prior to harvesting. Autumn garlic is harvested in late June or early July. Spring garlic about a month later. Pull it gently from the ground and dry it in the sun together with leaves. When the leaves are completely dry, the garlic is suitable for storage. In order to achieve long storage time, harvesting should take place on a root day according to the Gardening by Biodynamic calendar. Garlic can be stored until used or until new garlic is grown. This is our garlic from last year that was preserved last year as I will describe it to you. It can be braided into braids, placed in crates or meshed bags, and placed in a dry place, preferably in a space that is not damp. Make sure each stored clove has access to dry air. It is very interesting to note that for many years, garlic proved the best to be stored outside, under the hay rack. Even during the winter, it is shaded under the hay rack roof, protected from rain, fog, and snow. You've come to the end of our course on garlic. Garlic gives your food that special taste, so make sure you have some space for it in your garden. It's been a joy to share the nuances of cultivating garlic with you. Stay tuned for more courses and let's keep becoming gardeners together.